Welcome to Silverman Radio, January 18th, 2021. Me and Danny were talking behind, in the waiting room, talking about Bleeding Blue this morning, and I was like, why are we doing this behind when we could just promote it? The new Bleeding Blue show with Justin and Snacks was out this morning on the Talking Giants channel. It was really good. Like it was well done. Like Danny, you and Justin know me. I'm not one to, I don't give out a ton of compliments. I really enjoyed Bleeding Blue this morning, and I look forward to it. I'm looking forward to next Monday when it premieres. I like the premiere idea.
It is quite cool that you could just talk to people at that same time. I wasn't up at 8 a.m. Great job. Justin Snacks probably was great. Probably I'm the stupid one for not getting up at 8 a.m. But no, the premiere idea is really cool that you could just talk with people at that very exact moment in time and just talk about what's happening.
Yeah, I liked it. So Danny, we did have some play. Oh, we got to do word of the day. Let's do word of the day, and then we'll do some playoffs. What's word of the day, guys? What do we do?
Who are we going to try to get mad at today?
I'm going to get mad at Jameis fanboys today, so maybe Jameis could be the word of the day.
Winston.
Winston. Maybe we'll get some cigarettes in there for smoking Woody. It's going to be all Jameis stuff. Latest Winston. Everything is political on Twitter. Every time I search a word, the latest tweet is political. Every single time. Let's see. There's a lot of people named Winston. I'm just going to reply to this one. Winston sucks. Okay. All right. So we had playoff football.
It's simple as that.
Playoff football this weekend. I want to start with last night because we had Bucks Saints, Bucks 30. Saints 20. The end of Drew Brees, which we'll get into in a second, but man, what Brady's done with this Tampa team to me is pretty remarkable. Like I know it's like, oh, they got good players, but it's like they were a bad team last year. They were a bad team last year. Brady's coming into, a completely like an opposite philosophy with Arians, where it's like, hey, we're gonna get vertical and we're gonna air this thing out. This isn't gonna be all about perfect timing. It's gonna be about airing this out. And they've made it work, man. And they've made it work with a guy like Antonio Brown being, basically like a third, fourth option. Gronk was really bad to start the year, and now he's, they've kind of got a connection. And then obviously Evans is him. Credit to Tampa for getting this thing to the NFC Championship. I mean, it's not like Brady went to a team that was this close. Like Brady went to a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 14 years.
No, yeah, it proved like people were saying like in New England, like it was Brady and Belichick. It was all Belichick that was causing this. No, Brady's show it's proven this year. I know the Patriots had a bunch of opt-outs that Brady is really saying, hey, I could go to a different team and make it work. Obviously, he has great talent around him. Don't get me wrong, but he's able to go to a totally different team, learn a new system, like you said, a whole new philosophy. And take his team to the NFC Championship game when it looked dicey at moments in the year. Like there are some games where you're like, are the Buccaneers really going to make it far in the playoffs? And here we are. They're about to face Green Bay in Lambeau Field.
Yeah, at 43 years old with a new team, like that is crazy. I remember, when Brady was like 38, he said like I want to play till I'm 45, and everyone laughed at him. And now he's gonna do it. So all the credit into the world to them. That being said, Drew Brees probably his last game last night. It was rough. It was literally his worst game of the year last night. Last night it was the first game this year where he had completed less than 60% of his passes, less than 200 yards, and then a negative touchdown interception ratio. You look at his numbers this year, and yeah, the arm hasn't been there, but he's had a good year, not for maybe Drew Brees top level standards, but just for like, hey, quarterback around the league. Brees had a good year. And like you said, obviously his arm isn't there, but it wasn't Peyton level bad in Peyton's last season. So he goes out. I want to kind of rant a little bit about this Jameis love, but all the credit to Drew Brees. Like they fumbled down their end zone with Jared Cook. That last interception wasn't his fault. He talk about arm strength. He put a ball in there, and his guy pops it up, and it turns into an interception. It was an awesome career, and despite what people think, he should have been the star. He should have played that entire game. He was the guy who got them there. He should have played the entire way. There was no way they were ever going to bench. There was no way they were going to bench Drew Brees in his finale for Jameis Winston. That's just not how life works.
Yeah, the Saints, they would not disrespect a quarterback that has done so much to that city. Only be like, well, let's put in Jameis Winston. The Saints know if they know what they have a Jameis Winston, they already know they want him back next year. So at that point, let Drew Brees just finish it on his own. And yeah, it was a bad game. And while we were confident Big Ben was going to retire, even though it sounds like he's coming back, we're confident about this one because the look back sealed the deal for me. It was like, all right, he's done.
Yeah, and Glazier even reported it. But like this idea that like, oh, they should have known they couldn't have won this with Brees. It's like they destroyed the Bucs twice with Drew Brees this season. They beat them twice this year. This was Brees' worst game of the year. Look at his game log. This was his worst game of the year by far. Even there was games where it's like, oh, he had low yards, but he had like 4 touchdowns. And so he runs that offense efficiently. Like people don't put that together. Like it kind of reminded me of like Peyton with Osweiler. It's like, yeah, Osweiler has an awesome arm, but guess what he can't do? Break down a defense and know where to go. Throw that back shoulder pass, to that touchdown in the third quarter to Taquan Johnson, I think his name is. But it was literally his worst game of the year. Look at Brees' numbers for the year. 70%, 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And that was only with 12 games. That's only the 12 games. So you put that at a full season rate, that's completing 70% of his passes, which is no small feat. 4,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. That's an awesome year. That wins an MVP like 5-6 years ago. Like there was an awesome year for Brees. And look at Jameis, because everyone's like, oh, you got to put Jameis in. Jameis is Benster. One, Jameis came in, ran a trick play where a guy was wide open and threw a touchdown. Congratulations. It was stolen from the Bears last week. It was the same one that Trubisky played. Are you going to tell me that Trubisky should be starting for the New Orleans Saints? Jameis has been a bad QB for his career. His best year was his second year where he completed 60% of his passes, 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions. So in his best year, it wasn't even close to what Brees was this year in this so-called him being washed up. Brees this year is better than Jameis Winston. It was a wide open trick play. And look at what the Saints thought about, what Sean Payton thought about Jameis Winston. When they signed Jameis Winston, they told him he was the backup. There's no way Jameis went in there thinking he was the third string QB, that if Drew Brees got hurt, that he wasn't going to play. There's no way he went in there not being told that. So through Sean Payton seeing him in practice, seeing who he is, when Drew Brees did go down, went and started Taysom Hill, and everyone said, oh, it's so dumb. But you know what? They went undefeated in that run, I think, or maybe 3-1. And like they didn't give Jameis a single snap in those games. Like he didn't play one snap in those games. That shows you what the people who see him every day think of Jameis Winston. He's a bad QB. He's fun. He is exciting, but he's a bad QB. He threw 30 interceptions last year. And like, look at Tampa. I get Brady obviously is a huge upgrade over most guys, but they went from not sniffing the playoffs to being a title contender with Tom Brady. I get there's some guys there, but look at the throws to Gronk. Look at the throws to Gronk every time. They are tight and they are perfectly placed. If Gronk was the tight end for Jameis Winston, he would have thrown 5 more interceptions than what Brady did just on Gronk throws alone if he tried to make those throws. So like and like, oh well, they only started Taysom Hill in those games because he had so much invested. Like he didn't have anything invested in when he started Teddy Bridgewater last year. Jameis Winston sucks. Okay, we had 5 years for him to prove himself with a good team around him, with Dirk Cutter, who they kept for the sake of Jameis, because Jameis had a rookie year that had some good moments, but he didn't get better. Fitzpatrick came in and outplayed him. And then they bring in Bruce Arians, who has done well with every QB he's ever had. Every QB he's ever had, he's done well with. And you look at this year, and Jameis sucked. He threw 30 interceptions. Like, well, he threw 5,000 yards. Yeah, because you kept on getting the restart drives because he'd throw interception. Like, oh, the Bucs defense is better this year. Is it? I feel like it's the same exact defense. The only difference is they're actually getting good field position. They're not getting the ball in opponent's territory every single game because Jameis throws interception after interception after interception. So, listen, can Jameis improve and be an okay quarterback? Yeah. But this idea that Jameis is like being robbed by not playing for the Saints isn't true. Drew Brees right now is better than Jameis Winston. And that offense isn't like Tampa's offense where it's gunslinger, like which fits Jameis better. It's very like you get the ball at the right time. It's based off timing. And Jameis has never proven to be that guy. So rant over. I don't usually let people bother me, but people saying Jameis was like this, I can't believe they're not putting Jameis in, I was losing my mind last night, Danny.
Yeah, I'm not God. You got pretty much everything out you said about Jameis Winston. If anything, isn't it smart for Jameis Winston to sit behind Drew Brees in that situation, learn from him, and then next year, when clearly I think that's going to be the Saints' best option because they're like $93 million over the cap because miraculous somehow we thought the Eagles were bad with that. Jameis is going to be a starter week 1 next year. I feel like that's a guarantee unless he's injured because they have to see what they have in him. But yeah, Jameis, yeah, I do hate how people think like he had some illustrious career in Tampa Bay. Yeah, he had a career, but not the best career you want in Tampa Bay. 30 interceptions. But the people, he had 33 touchdowns. He had 30 interceptions. Like, you don't want that. It's a horrible ratio right there.
Well, Drew Brees this year was on pace for 32 touchdowns. So.
Jameis sucks, people. That QB class of 2015, bust.
Yes, 2015? And I like Jameis. I gave Jameis every chance to be the guy. Like to this day, I would still take Jameis over Mariota. Mariota obviously, but I actually like Jameis. Like, he's fun to watch. And I thought Tampa should have gave him that all 5 years. Like, I thought every year, it's like there's no reason to move on from Jameis at this point. But this idea that Jameis is being like robbed by being on the bench in New Orleans, like, dude, he sucks. His best year wasn't even close to what Drew Brees did this year in Wall. So yeah, does Brees need to retire? Yeah, but it's not to finally unearth Jameis Winston. This isn't some Joe Montana, Steve Young situation here.
That's my worst fear though. Drew Brees, when he gets back home and he's like, "No, I still got one more run left in me." I'm like, "Drew, don't do it. Drew, don't do it. You already suffered 11 broken ribs at a collapse lung."
Yeah, he's done. He's over the NFL. Watch them go into next year with Taysom as the starter. Don't be surprised if they do that. Don't be surprised if they do that.
I would honestly be surprised because I've been thinking this whole time it's all leading up to Jameis next year.
But then I think the fact that Jameis didn't start in those 4 games where Brees out showed something. That within the practices, they're like, oh, this is not the guy we want. This isn't the guy we want. Like, I don't think it was just like, hey, I'm just going to give Taysom Hill a shot. Like, they're battling for the playoffs. I don't think Peyton was just like, screw it. Let's try this Taysom Hill thing and not give Jameis a single snap. Yeah,
because they still could have used Taysom Hill in that same role that he's used with Brees.
Exactly. You could have went 50-50 or something.
Yeah, you could have used a pure passer Winston. So they like Winston, but they clearly didn't like him enough yet to start Taysom.
You know what? Start Brock Osweiler. How about that?
Start Nate Sudfeld.
Nate Sudfeld. Do I have anything else on that game? No, I was just frustrated. I was like, I had to get myself a nice Jameis Winston rant out.
The biggest. Who fought Jameis Winston rant in 2021?
I know. I saw people being like, and like, because obviously we're Giants guys. People like, well, if you think Jameis isn't good, like, then you can't say that Daniel Jones is. It's like Jameis had 5 years. Okay, I promise you, if Daniel Jones plays like Jameis through his first 5 years, I won't be clamoring for him to play. I will be clamoring for the Giants to move on. I promise you. I won't be clamoring for Daniel Jones to play if he plays like Jameis in 3 years. Even if I think he might even have something left, it's like, we just got to move on. We can't do this anymore. So I would be surprised if the Saints go into week 1 with Jameis as their starter next year, but we'll see. I mean, you said they're in cap hell. I think Jameis signed a 1-year deal too, right?
Yeah, Jameis, I believe it's a 1-year deal he's signed with.
So how can they? I think they might not even be able to afford Jameis. Like, and nobody else in the league even wanted Jameis. Like, nobody wanted Jameis.
That is true. That is very much true.
The Chiefs beat the Browns yesterday. Mahomes gets hurt. Man, what an ending to that game. That was nuts. Andy Reid being like, hey, Chad Henne, go out and win us this game. And Chad Henne having that scramble run, which was so funny that he was a yard short. And they were showing the replay that he was a yard short, and Tony Romo was losing his mind. Like, oh my God, Jim, to go to the AFC Championship, just was losing his mind. And it's like, dude, Tony, he's short. But that decision to go for it, and not only go for it, to throw the ball. I know the Chiefs have all the weapons to do it, but with Chad Henne at QB, to throw the ball in that situation is really ballsy, and it showed up. And it shows up counter to what the Browns did, where I get they were in 4th and 9, and 9 yards is a lot to get. But with 5 minutes left against this Chiefs offense, it's hard to trust your defense. I don't know what I would have done in that situation. I think the go for it is a lot of people. It's just easier to say from the outside looking in, and then when the Chiefs win, it's a little bit of hindsight. But I mean, Andy Reid, dude, but just putting it out all on the table and being like, we are going to win this game. It's pretty cool to see, especially with Chad Henne as QB. Like I remember Chad Henne getting benched for Blake Bortles and the crowd going nuts because Blake Bortles didn't throw a check down. And Chad Henne was out there slinging. And then he did have that interception that was like, oh my gosh, Chad Henne. Did you learn that from Blake Bortles, Chad Henne?
That was a horrendous route. I was like, Chad, what are you doing? No, that 4th and 9 call, I didn't hate it because if I was Kevin Stefanski, I would be like, that's Chad Henne on the other side of the field. He just threw that horrid interception. I think our defense can get one more stop. And clearly, obviously, that's not. You don't expect Chad Henne to take it himself to get to a 4th and inches, and then Andy Reid to run a play out of the shotgun on 4th and inches. And it was just Andy Reid just being a boss. That's all Andy Reid was doing. But my question is, how did Mahomes get knocked out? Because he wasn't hit in the head.
I don't know. Maybe he was already concussed, and I don't know what. Yeah, I don't get what happened there because I know he kind of got rung up a little bit earlier in the game. I don't know if it got worse or or he hurt his neck, but they said it was concussion protocol, so you kind of got to take them for their word at it. I don't know how that happened, but that's a huge disadvantage for them. Like even if Mahomes plays next week, you can't prepare fully with a concussion. You can't. They can't say you have to go through steps, and they're. At least I'm pretty sure that they're pretty like, hey, you have to do this the right way. You can't just be like, just go out there and practice even though you have a concussion.
Jake Laser on Fox last night, he said like the Chiefs are optimistic Mahomes could start. They said he's only in the concussion protocol because he has to be. That was a horrible explanation right there. But he made it sound like he made it sound like he's not dealing with a concussion. It was I don't know. It was so strange. I think he will start. But I just need to figure out what happened to the guy because was he like the horse collar? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I'm thinking
in the chat is saying whiplash, so maybe that's what it was.
Whiplash, that's probably a good shout. But I mean, the Chiefs and Bills, that's going to be a fantastic matchup.
It is.
And they get Clyde Edwards-Helaire back next week, most likely. So they had some solid stuff back.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Bills. The Bills win that game. It was ugly.
It was ugly. It was very ugly.
Credit to the Ravens defense for being able to throw that stuff. Dowell got away from the run like completely, and I know people are like, 5 lines, like running the ball. It's like, bubble screens aren't running the ball. Like let's relax a little bit, people. But Allen was missing some guys, but the wind was obviously whipping in that game, man. But good on the Bills. But Lamar Jackson, the playoff woes continue. Which I think are real. Like they need to be like that last interception that turned into a pick six was a very stupid throw by Lamar. Like it wasn't there. It was a dumb throw. That being said, it was a bad play call too. Like Greg Roman, this is why last year people were considering Greg Roman for head coaching jobs. I was scared of Greg Roman. It's like, Greg Roman is like, it's just, you can bank on it. First year, they're going to run the ball like crazy. They're going to be doing all types of cool stuff. Like it's going to be a high efficient offense. And then the second year, the QB with a limited, ability to throw the ball is going to be up and down, which is what Lamar was. But that call for the pick six was it was something that Jason Garrett has called actually a ton. It was the all curls. And it was a play I was worried that Daniel Jones was going to throw an interception on this year, but it was just easy for the defense. But Lamar he just shouldn't have thrown that. Like it didn't make sense that he threw that play, like run, take the sack, do something, but throwing that ball, it was an unacceptable throw. Like that's, people use the word unacceptable a little too often. That was an unacceptable. There was no good outcome for that play. It wasn't like he would hit him right after if he would have hit him like right at the curl and he picks it off, like, okay, at least it was like a timing play and it was like, it's bang, bang. And he didn't really think about it. This one was just like, he thought about it and just threw it and it didn't make any sense. And then obviously got turned into a pick six.
Yeah, and he just stared him down the whole time, and the corner was what he was. I don't even know the guy's name because he said nothing for the Bills. But he was just in his zone. He read Lamar the whole time, picked him off, and then just took it to the house. But I mean, I'm trying. Well, yeah, I mean, what's his name? Justin Tucker missing those 2 field goals also hurt the Ravens immensely because that would be a totally different ball game if he made those 2 field goals.
Didn't the Bills kicker miss 2 field? I know he missed 1. Did he miss 1 or 2?
I think he missed 1. I'm going to say confidence with 1.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, People are
Actually, well, I
asking.
mean, it wouldn't have made in the end since they only scored a field goal. They never even got into the end zone. So maybe ball game would have been it would have been like played differently. But yeah, that I don't remember what I thought of Greg Roman last year in the coaching search, so I can't say I'm like, oh, I'm a huge fan. Or I'm like, oh, I didn't like the guy, but
I don't hate Greg Roman. It's just he like comes in, he changes stuff, it looks good, and then he gets figured out, and people realize like, oh, he doesn't really have a good passing like game. Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know. I don't know what a passing game coordinator is. Like, I really don't. And maybe people like suggesting that for the Giants. Maybe I need to find out like what exactly is a passing game coordinator. But whatever it is, the Ravens need one of those.
Yeah, and the Ravens just need to figure something out because teams have caught on to Lamar. Yes, he's still able to do his fun runs, but teams can deal with him in pass coverage. The only thing they just struggle to handle is trying to contain him in the pocket. So I mean, Lamar has to get more accurate. We saw Josh Allen do it. I don't see why Lamar doesn't have the ability to go out there and become a more accurate passer.
Yeah, and accuracy is one of those things where people are like, oh, you can't be taught it. Like, you can't get better at accuracy. It's been something that's been said forever, and Mike Leach has had clips like that. But Lamar has the ability to be accurate. Like, he hits guys with dimes, So can he get more accurate? Like, yes. Is he ever going to be Peyton Manning accurate? Probably not. But can he get more accurate? Yeah. So I don't give up on Lamar, but there's definitely flaws in his game. And that gets shown when you have to really turn into this passing offense, which happens, in the playoffs. So I don't hate Lamar, but I do think the playoff woes are real.
All right, the playoff woes are real. I got one question for you. What do you think of the Bills like only running the ball like 8 times or something like that?
I don't like it. Their offense wasn't good. I mean, Their offense scored 10 points, right? Because they had the pick 6, and they scored, 17 or 20 points?
17. So, yeah,
10 points. So their offense only scored 10 points, and I know those playing results. But run the damn ball a little bit, especially when the wind is, like, whipping like that. Like, run the ball a little bit. Like, oh, well, people are like, well, if Allen doesn't miss these 3 throws, like, well, he did. And that's kind of the run the ball and take your – like, doesn't stop you from taking those chances, But not running the ball at all, to me was kind of weird. But it shows they only scored 10 points, especially a team that blitzes like the Ravens. Like, get them off their game, and they never were able to do that.
Yeah, like if they were that disturbed by what the Ravens did in Tennessee with Derrick Henry, then I don't know. I'm not sure how much not having Zach Moss contributed to that as well. Were they afraid to give it to Devin Singletary and T.J. Yeldon, which I was like, T.J. Yeldon, I forgot that guy.
Devontae Freeman.
Devontae Freeman. You called Devontae Freeman up, people. Come on. But yeah, I mean, just run the ball a few more times because that wind was taking Josh Allen's balls.
Listen, if they were running the ball to start the game and it wasn't working and then they got away from it, I get that. But they didn't run the ball until like 4 minutes left in the second quarter. Like, they didn't even try it until that point. Yeah. So
it was strange. It was strange.
Especially when you got Josh Allen. Like, maybe run a little QB power or something. I don't know.
Anything.
Rams lost to the Packers. I don't want to talk. There's not much I want to hit on that game. But Brandon Staley goes to the Chargers instead of Brian Daboll, who we were just talking about. That was a surprise. I mean, Schefter basically said is the front runner. When Schefter says the front runner about a coach who's still coaching, that usually means he's won the job. And then Staley comes out of nowhere, and I really do think it was. We heard last week that the Chargers want to keep Steve Sykin as their offensive coordinator for I almost called him Justin Herbert. And Daboll probably didn't want that. Daboll probably either wanted himself to be, the offensive play caller or bring in Ken Dorsey with him. And they go Brandon Staley, which I don't hate it. Like, everyone talks very highly about Brandon Staley. Just because he's a good coordinator doesn't mean he's going to be a good coach. But I like the idea that they're keeping Sykin with Herbert. Like, the QB is the most important thing, and we kind of went through this last year. Obviously, there was no way we're going to keep Shermer as an OC. It's just that's impossible to do. But keeping that OC around for the QB, and you'll probably keep Pep Hamilton as the QB coach, to me, that's a huge win for the Chargers to get a guy in Brandon Staley and be able to keep your offense together because their offense was good this year.
That's the thing. What you said right there. I think this is also more of a move to keep that offensive side intact, at least for now, and keep the continuity going. Justin Herbert, when we were thinking of offensive coordinator candidates because we were all hoping and praying Jason Garrett was not going to be on this team anymore. I looked at Pep Hamilton and said, I mean, he worked well with Justin Herbert this year in LA. I would love to have Pep Hamilton here, but I'll be surprised if he leaves. But
he might be going to Miami.
That would be great with either Tua. Tua would benefit from him or Deshaun, whoever the quarterback is in Miami. But that Brandon Staley hire, like you said, everyone thought it was Brian Dable. But I mean, what a great hire, because the Chargers defense has some guys on it. They have Ingram, Bosa. I'm trying to think of some. They have Derwin James. They got some solid pieces on the defensive side of the ball for Brandon Staley to work with. And now people might be like, oh, but the Rams had great talent. But it's like, yeah, but I mean, like the Rams. He went in there, he made them a scary force and made them the number one defense in the league with his play calling. I don't see why he can't contribute that to the Chargers. And the Chargers are honestly one of the better places for him to end up, realistically, because they already have solid pieces on the defensive side. They have the offense going. They just need to get something going together and not blow fourth quarter leads. And then they're solid. I think they are now going to be a legit contender in the AFC West.
And think about this. He gets to stay home, going from LA to LA. Bam! Right there. Gets to stay home. Hometown kid in Brandon Staley.
No family's got to get moved. He could just take the job, just move over to the locker room. I don't know who has the nicer locker room, though, in SoFi. Is it the Chargers or is it the Rams?
Do they both use that stadium, or is it? I thought that was just the Rams stadium.
No, it's Rams and Chargers.
Oh.
I would assume the Rams. I think they're the moneymaker.
It's so stupid that they moved the Chargers to LA. Like the Raiders are from LA. Just bring the Raiders back to LA and keep the Chargers. If you're going to move a team to Las Vegas, make it the Chargers. But that was Mark Davis wanted to go to Las Vegas, so I'm arguing against the guy who actually orchestrated it. So
and they did better in San Diego than they've done in LA.
Well, at least they had some real fans in San Diego. They weren't
true.
The biggest fan base in the world, but at least they had some real fans.
Yeah,
like in LA, it's like not only does LA not care that much about football, but they care about the Rams more than they do you. And then you have the San Diego fans who are pissed off that you moved. I mean, it's
and they put the Rams in the Memorial Coliseum, one of the most iconic stadiums in the United States, and they put the Chargers in a soccer stadium that they barely were even able to get to like max capacity.
No, supposedly it was like a home. It's like every time the Chargers or Rams play, it's like a home game for the other team. So. We did get a bite on word of the day. When you talk about sports, you get people. I just replied, Winston sucks. And he said he's been under Brees this past season. Maybe he's learned. Plus, we haven't seen much besides that dime last night. And I said, dude, Peyton didn't even want. You know what? Arguing about sports isn't that fun. So this word of the day kind of sucks today. So I'm not even happy.
Well, hey, not every word of the day, because that's all it is this week. It's sports. There's something kind of major happening on Wednesday. I don't know if you heard about it, but that's.
Should we do live stream of that?
Oh God, that would.
I wonder if CNN this time will give us a. Do you remember the last? It was either election morning or the night before election. They put out an article of all the people who need to die at what times to keep Obama in office.
Really?
Yeah. Like, are you guys serious right now?
They wrote an article how to. That's amazing.
They were basically like to keep. Or maybe it wasn't even Obama. It was just to keep like somebody within his cabinet, like to keep him in the office and keep, like it's like who would have to die and at what times. Like it was like, are you guys serious right now?
That's they were that desperate to keep. That's hilarious.
So CNN did that this time. So maybe Fox News will do that this year. This
is how we get Don Jr. in office.
I couldn't believe. I was like, "Are you guys serious right now?"
I'm surprised that wasn't bigger. At least I don't remember it being that big.
Yeah, that was crazy. I watch every inauguration. Like I always I make sure to take off of school or work. So I took off work the last one for Trump, and then Barack Obama. I didn't do the second term, but the first one I took off school. I just think it's a cool moment. Regardless of what you view on either of like seeing, the president being inaugurated.
You take it off from work this Wednesday?
Well, I work from home, so I'll just have it on the TV and I'll be scouting college players and we'll do some man radio and stuff.
I got UFC, so I'm going to be having the inauguration right here and then UFC on the TV.
Yeah. Last year was on a Friday, I believe. Last time.
I don't. That Trump's was the first one I remember they actually showed in school.
Really?
Yeah. I remember just sitting in the cafeteria and they were showing like Trump being inaugurated. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's kind of boring, honestly. But
I was like, it's just going to be another regular 4 years. What's crazy is going to happen?
nothing, absolutely nothing.
16-year-old Danny, so naive that kid was.
Wait for these next 4 years. It's gonna get things are. I think it's just gonna get crazy and crazier going forward.
Oh yeah, there's only one way to go. We're on the I don't know what side of the hill we're on, but it's an interesting side.
I'm just at the top, just like, hey, y'all wilding out down there, huh?
Major news: Justin Fields declared for the draft.
Did he?
I
saw some people being like, "This is the last day he did declare."
Let the controversies begin. Does Urban Meyer take an Ohio State player with the number 1 overall pick? If he does, I think Shad Khan might fire him instantly.
Yeah, fire him, fire his ass. Urban Meyer's not gonna be. Last week when he was hired, I was like, I think it's gonna be a good one. Now that it's like he's bringing Scott Linehan stuff, I'm out on Urban Meyer. I don't think he's gonna be a good coach now.
No, yeah, if they bring Scott Linehan, he's basically saying, all right, guys, this year's complete rebuild. Let's just get Jacksonville back on track.
Oh, by the way, with Baker losing last night, it keeps the streak alive of number 1 QBs, first overall picks, not you winning a Super Bowl. Eli and David Carr have been the only ones in the past like 23 years now. I
didn't know that. That's an interesting little stat right there.
Let's go through it. Let's see. This year it was Joe Burrow, didn't go. Year before, Kyler, no Super Bowl. Let me just pull up the list.
Was Jared Goff the number 1 pick?
Yes. Not going, not winning.
Oh, going.
Baker, no Super Bowls. Myles Garrett, no. Jared Goff, no. Jameis Winston, no. Although people act like he has. Jadeveon Clowney, none. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Eric Fisher won. Damn it.
Damn. Got exposed.
Damn it. I was wrong. Eric Fisher won. I forgot Eric Fisher was a first-round pick. He won one with the Chiefs last year.
Good old offensive tackle.
QBs, how about that? Andrew Luck, no. Cam Newton, no. Sam Bradford, no. Matthew Stafford, no. Jake Long, no. Jamarcus Russell, no. Mario Williams.
Jamarcus Russell, really?
No. Alex Smith, no. Eli Manning, yes. Carson Palmer, no. David Carr, yes, as the backup to Eli Manning. Michael Vick, no. Courtney Brown, no. Tim Couch, no. And then Peyton Manning in 98 before that. Think about before that. Orlando Pace before that, he won a Super Bowl. Keyshawn Johnson won a Super Bowl before that. Kajana Carter. Dang, that would piss some people. A running back from Penn State went first overall in 95. How about that?
Oh! That we need to throw that up on Talking Giants. Be like, hey, Talking Giants fans, guess what?
And the Bengals had the first round pick before that, and they took a defensive tackle. I mean, this is the Dave Gettleman. Did Dave Gettleman run the 1990s Cincinnati Bengals?
That is a defensive tackle. Dave Gettleman would be salivating if he had that opportunity.
Back-to-back first-round picks, and they took a defensive tackle and a running back. That's Dave Gettleman right there.
My worst fear was that he was going to take Derek Brown last year.
Remember last year, I was like, I refuse to do any research on Derek Brown. I'm going to be ignorant. Like, I'm just not doing it.
I remember saying, if the Giants take Derek Brown, I will run into the Atlantic Ocean. And I remember, like, I forgot who it was, like Giants Wire liked it, and I was like, do they know something I don't know?
Oh man, running. I was actually hoping. I remember that. I was actually hoping for it then.
that was like one of those tweets where I'm like, really? I have some banger tweets that I find hilarious that get no likes, but this tweet that was just sent out there for jokes gets like 400 likes.
That's usually the way it goes. Like, you'll give all this analysis, and then you're like, the Giants are good. Like 900 likes. It's ridiculous.
Or I make a list, and
lists are good. Best number 1 overall pick of all time. We going Peyton or John Elway?
Ooh.
I'm going Peyton.
Yeah, I'm going Peyton as well. Peyton, but like Peyton went out on top. He had those great years in Indianapolis. Peyton's another one. Yeah, Peyton
OJ Simpson.
He solid first round pick.
First over, yeah. Terry Bradshaw. Have you seen the Ford Ranger video?
Ford Ranger video?
Dude, I was watching it yesterday, and now I can't stop saying it.
Is that the one you posted last night?
Well, that was me doing my own version of it.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Give me some tools. Freaking Ford Ranger. Motherfucking son of a gun. Motherfucking Ford Ranger. See, you might be big and shit, but you ain't no fucking Ford fucking Ranger. Ford Ranger. I know this truck. I ain't no stranger. I know that truck. That's a Ford fucking Ranger.
What
Fucking Ranger.
what a
Ford
boss.
Ranger. Damn, working Ford Ranger. Ford Ranger. Ford Ranger. Some bitch. That's fucking Ford Ranger. I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it's a gift. They just keep following me, man. I just feel like, fucking Ranger. Hey, that's Ford Ranger. Ford Ranger. Fucking Ford Ranger.
Is that the truck of the South?
Ranger. That's a fucking flatbed Ford Ranger.
They're using,
Ford
everyone using their
Ranger?
work trucks.
Golly.
That's the work truck.
Everyone just
Golly.
like I mean, I used to drive a Ford Ranger. Like they're solid work trucks.
Is that like a way of entry into the South? You must drive a Ford Ranger at one point.
If you ever like cleaned pools or did like anything where you didn't need to tow a ton, you had a Ford Ranger.
Yeah.
So
Also,
that's Ford Ranger.
Ford Ranger. Also, I want to get, because I know you're not going to talk about tomorrow with Chris. UFC on Wednesday. Solid fight. Main event. ESPN. Go watch it. Maybe you'll like.
Is it McGregor?
No, McGregor Saturday night.
Is this Saturday?
Yeah.
So
I have
they're gonna play
ESPN Plus. I can lend you the password if you want to watch him fight.
Not really.
Alrighty then.
If I watch this because my brothers like that stuff, so I'll just go to their house. I think he has ESPN Plus too, but don't you have to pay for it and do ESPN
It's
Plus?
so dumb. I was like, wait, what's going on here? Like, I was like, I gotta pay for ESPN Plus, then I gotta buy the pay per view. I'm like, and I don't get a discount. I'm like, what the hell?
I know it's kind of, like that's really dumb, honestly.
And the service is awful. Like ESPN Plus is like one of the worst platforms I've ever experienced in my life.
That ain't right. That ain't right. Screw you, ESPN Plus. We'll punch you in the freaking face. All right,
we'll send Justin on you.
Let's do. Yeah, Justin will punch you in the face. I can't believe Justin got in trouble for like saying he's gonna punch the Jets in the face, and we like basically threatened to kill every cable company or internet company like that messes with us in the pocket, like Optimum or whatever. Like we have threatened to murder them like a few times as a podcast,
and nothing's happened.
Yeah, and then on top of us doing it, encourage our listeners to do it, and they did it. Like that, I can't believe we never got suspended for that.
I remember I DM'd Xfinity, I think.
Yes, that's what it was, Xfinity.
I can't find the DM, but I remember sending them like a message, be like, "Yo, oh no, it's Comcast. Oh no, my message is done." But I pretty much I was like, "You better fix Justin's internet, or else we got issues on our hands."
All right. Speaking of issues on our hands, let's do better today. While I, for some reason, just keep on fiddling with a water bottle, like we're not live on air right now.
What games do we have on tonight? Oh, it's MLK Day.
MLK Day. Danny, you are 3-1-1. I am 4-4. Chris is 1-1-1, and Snacks is 1-1. So everyone's 500 except for you. You had the Bills this week in -3. Chris had the Saints plus, or the Bucks +3. I had the Saints -3. So that's what happened. What are you doing for your bet of the day?
I'm gonna go back to good old reliable. I'm gonna take the Knicks again.
You're taking the Knicks?
I'm taking the +2 against the Orlando Magic.
Well, that's perfect because I'm going the Magic -2.
Oh, you're go. I think the Knicks are gonna beat your Magic at noon in exactly 20 minutes from now.
I know. I'm looking forward to watching that game while I do work. All right, so now because it's at noon, we're gonna put the game on now, or I gotta do the tweet right now. The Knicks suck so bad.
Yeah, too bad they don't have like a James Harden on their team. Oh, he bamboozled everyone. Like, what was he doing under that shirt? Because that's not.
It was literally only in his warm-ups. Like he looked fine in the jersey, and everyone.
I never watched any of his games until I saw pictures from Brooklyn, and I'm like, wait, that's not James Harden. I saw said they made him walk from Houston to Brooklyn to lose all that weight. I was like, that's a reasonable possibility.
Yeah. How does Chris only have 3 picks? That doesn't make any sense. How long have we been doing this show now? This is the start of the 3rd week, so that makes sense actually now.
Yeah, because you tell Tuesday, Thursday.
And we forgot to do it one time.
So that's where the mistake lies.
So, all right, that's a show. Magic are gonna win. Sorry, guys. Sorry to tell you. You heard it here first. We'll see you guys tomorrow. It'll be me and Chris. Danny will be back maybe on Wednesday we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with snacks. Maybe we'll do a 3-man. I don't know, like we did last year. I kind of like that complex. We'll see. Stay simple.